Well, hello there. It's early morning, and I'm getting ready to put a clear coat. I painted the back of this dial scale holder, reflector, whatever you want to call it, and I painted the inside white. Looks very nice. All that old speckly rust came off, did real good. So now I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape from the two dial lamp holders and from the bushing that we found, and then we'll go ahead and spray everything with a clear. And again, I'm going to go ahead and use this Valspar Ultra Clear. We're just going to give it a good, nice extra protection. That's really what I'm looking for. I just want it to last a while. I love this Valspar stuff. It's really great. It doesn't run. I like that. While we have the clear out, we might as well go ahead and spray the shafts on the band switch and spray the shaft on the tone control. These were very rusty, and they've all been derusted, and I don't want them to start rusting right away again. I mean, they're going to rust eventually anyway, but we're going to do our best to keep it from happening, not too quickly. We want to do our best. So I'll spray it, let it dry, turn them over, and spray them on the other side. Clear coat those shafts if they've been rusted, especially if they've been rusted. The last thing we have to do to both the tuning gear and the reflector, or the dial holder, is we're going to have to take some Q-tips. We're going to take a little bit of lacquer thinner, put it in this bowl. I'm going to dab the Q-tips in there. We're going to go down through the center here. We're going to clean out any paint that may have gotten down in there, because it'll make it hard to put on the shaft. We don't need paint down there anyway, but it gets down in there, and when you spray, there's not really much you can do about it. We'll go ahead and get down in there. We'll also go ahead and clean the dial lamp holders on the inside also. Now, it doesn't take very much, so don't be slopping a whole bunch of it down in there. Just kind of dry it off and just kind of give it a nice cleaning on the inside. That's all. See the paint that came off? Got to get it out of there. Not so much of a big problem on this one, because there's set screws that hold it in place. But I'm going to go ahead and take it out anyway. Now I'll turn it over and get it from the other side, like so. Now this one here is a little bit different. The shaft actually rotates on the inside of it, so it really has to be clean. So I'll go ahead and dip it again, get some of it off, and get her down in there. I'll probably do this a couple of times with a couple of different Q-tips to make sure it's nice and clean. That's what we want. Nice and clean. Just be careful when you do these things, One other thing, I went ahead and took the Q-tip, did the same thing, put it in the lacquer thinner, then dabbed it off on the paper, and then I ran it along the teeth, along the edge of this thing. There's some paint that got down in there, and it might keep the gear from turning very easily, or the rubber or the neoprene wheel from gripping it. But now we've got all the paint removed from the edge. It'll be much easier to grip, I hope. It's time to go ahead and start derusting all of the little tiny things that were, held everything together on top of the chassis. For instance, this little screw right here, it held the dial needle on. These little clips right here held the dial bulb holders in, and these things over here held the volume control and band switch and tone control on, and these four screws held the transformer down, and this is the collar that holds the dial needle. It's got a couple of rusty set screws. I'll take those out of there. We'll let them get derusted also. And we're going to do all these at once, everything at once. And I was wondering, how can I do it all at once? Because I'm getting a little tired of doing this stuff little bit at a time. Because I'm ready to move underneath the chassis, start doing some wires and capacitors and things, and this is all we have left. This is what's preventing us from going under there. So what we're going to do is, I took a water bottle, cut the top off of it, and left that much, and we're going to pour a bunch of nail jelly down in there. I mean, we're going to pour it in there just like that. We're just going to start dumping this stuff in there. We're just going to dump it in there. We're going to let it set as long as it needs to set. And And I can move on to other things while it's sitting. Get those 2 set screws in there. We don't want to lose anything. None of these screws. Not that we couldn't replace them, but you know, why take the chance? I'm just going to stir that all around in there. I'll bet you after about, I'm going to leave it in there for several hours. I mean, it's just going to sit there and soak. I'll stir it every once in a while. And this pink stuff will start to turn brown. When it starts to turn brown, then you know you're making some headway. We're going to put that in there. We'll put that in there. I've even got an old grid cap thing. It's just rusted to pieces. I may use it for something else. I've got different grid caps provided to me by a really cool guy. Anyway, that'll do it. Now these screws that held the you know, the clamshells on the transformer, I'm not going to use them, and I'm not going to stick the dial needle in there either. It needs to be flattened out a little bit. It's a little bit bent, so I need to straighten that out. We'll handle that delicately separately. So I'll just stir this around in here, and while it's waiting, we'll move on to something else. Let's do something about this slightly bent needle, dial needle. And over the years, they all get like that. They're very delicate, you know. And the best way I've found to straighten one out is not to be tapping it with anything, or, you know, the best way to do it is use a pair of duckbill pliers. Now, duckbill pliers, small miniature pair, have no teeth in them. You do not want teeth in a pair of duckbill pliers. And that way I can take this thing, put it like that, and just kind of give it a squeeze all along the entire length of it, and straighten out any bends. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to squeeze like a gorilla. Just kind of get a hold of it and kind of flatten it, and eventually you'll get it right where you want it. Well, there she is. She's nice and straight up and down. Sometimes you get a needle that'll kind of be cocked left and right from the center circle. You got to kind of straighten it out so it's nice and straight from the tip to tip, and nice and straight on the bottom. And if there is a slight little ripple here and there, don't go crazy trying to straighten out everything. You'll never really get it back to the shape it was. The metal stretches and it just won't go back, so be careful. You know, once it's on the radial like this, no one's going to see any kind of a slight, very hair-like ripple on the in the needle anyway, because they're just going to be going around. What you want to do is make sure it just doesn't touch the dial, you know, because it will scrape on the dial and cause scrape marks. So I think we'll go ahead and call this one straight. Now all I'm going to do is clean it and paint it black. I needed a new volume control potentiometer, an audio taper volume control potentiometer, and on-off switch. So with the help of my old buddy Brendan up there in Detroit, he found one on eBay, and I went ahead and ordered it. The price was right. You know, I could have got them all day long on Radio Days or any other website like that, but they all didn't have the length of shaft that I need. I need at least, I think it's 2 1/4 inches. And all of the shafts they offered on Radio Days and a couple other places, as far as I could tell, in the audio taper potentiometer side of the house, they were 1 3/8 inch. Too short. So I ordered this one from eBay, and I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And it's longer. It's actually longer than this one, so I'll be able to cut it back. But it appeared on the eBay web listing, on the eBay site listing, it looked like it was NOS. So let's find out. I'll tell you one thing, the guy sure packed it well. He had it all taped up in this bubble wrap and wrapped in a couple of layers of this paper. Good job on that. Anyway, you know, by the way, you know, you guys that send stuff, some of you eBay sellers, packing is everything, trust me. Okay, there it is. It is much longer, like I said, longer by at least about a 1/2 inch or so, and it's already cut halfway down, all the way down. That's great. That's what we need, see? The knob should fit that perfectly. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the multimeter on it, see if it works. Alright, I've got the multimeter hooked to the switch. Let's see what happens when I turn it now. Come on, baby boy, this one-handed stuff's for the bird. Oh, she works, she works. How about that? Let's see if she'll turn off now. Come on, baby, turn off here now. Good. Alright, let's try the potentiometer. Alright, here we go. We're going to bring it on up, 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 up. That's good. Looking real good. Looking real good. Alright, I think I'm a happy camper on that one. I decided to let this stuff soak all night long. And boy, I'll tell you what, from the looks of it, the color of it, which has really gotten a brownish tint, it really did its job. You can do that. You can go ahead and make sure it's all covered up. You know, you don't want to just apply navel jelly to something and then let it sit all night long. I mean, that's not good. You have to keep it wet. So since I buried this stuff in navel jelly, I knew it would stay wet. So I think we're ready to take it all out. What we're going to do here to get rid of all this stuff is just go ahead and pour it in a metal strainer, like so. Make sure it's all out. It's not, of course. There's always one or two. Yeah, I think we got it that time. Then we'll go ahead and just spray it, like so. And just clean all that stuff right off. The easy way to do it. The easy way to do it. I'm using hot water right now. You can't do this with a fiber strainer. It has to be metal. And there they are. Really sparkly clean. Nice, nice, nice. Alright, before this stuff starts rusting again, we need to get it dried out. Get it dried as quickly as possible because it will start rusting. Just put it on a paper towel. Take another one. Just sort of pat it dry and kind of roll it around. Takes a little while, you know. This is where you have the chance to lose lots of little tiny parts. So be careful. Well, that ends that. And we're now ready to start putting things back on the chassis. I think that's about all there is to derust. I think I knocked it all out finally. It took forever. Next time we'll go ahead and maybe install the tone control, the volume control, and do a little work on the band switch. And maybe even get a couple of wires stuck in. I know we have to mount some of the resistors underneath the chassis using these spacers and things like that. So that'll be another job. And we'll do what we can next time, and hopefully we'll have a little more success. So until then, once again, I appreciate everybody being here. This is John.